Oh, hello, we're live. Didn't realise. Hello, I'm Gav Mack. That's I was going to say Stephen Cotton. None of you guys are Stephen Cotton. Wolfrum and Devo.
You can try.
You can try. We need to get some tats on our faces and grow some really long strawberry blonde. Yeah, will be nice. Cotton's a good guy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bundesliga show. Game day 21 it is, not the game's A20 as I put in the description initially. Before we start, of course, everyone knows that is the case. No room for racism. There's no room for it today, tomorrow, any day whatsoever. If you see it, report it, do something about it, make a stand, and let's make a change. Right then, let's change that a little bit, and we'll continue with the housekeeping, as I like to call it, and we'll put a couple of bits and bobs up, because of course you can subscribe to us on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., at Top Football. If you put our name into Google, our name comes up first, and also via the TFB Dugout Boys, the Football Dugout Boys, of course. If you put in TFD code into Manscaped, you get some nice cushy stuff to clean yourself with and trim your balls.
Look after yourself is very important.
I know Valentine's Day has gone, but you still can impress
you
your
look
woman.
after yourself regardless of what day it is. Tuesday, look after yourself. Thursday, look after yourself. You get the idea. Love the show today, Flozif.
Thank you very much. Special shirt, nearly 40 years old, from Champions Cup. Is it the old word for Champions League?
Mm-hmm.
Champions Cup.
Yeah. 1983,
win of Hamburg. 83, yeah, exactly. Felix Magath scoring against Juventus Turin, and now this club is hanging somewhere in second league and can't manage to promote. Sad story, like Nottingham Forest a little bit.
Bless them. And Devo's rocking the Falcons.
Atlanta Falcons, Julio Jones, one of the best to ever do it. Yeah,
100%.
Yes, I am. And I see you've changed your name there.
Oh, champ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, won darts tournament yesterday, and I just realised I won an extra couple of quid because I hit the most 180s, tied with someone else. Hadn't hit 180 all year last year. No, I hit one last year. I've hit 10 so far this year, and 3 in the tournament that I played in, which I won. So my name is Champ, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Gav Mack. Anyway, it's Bundesliga show, so let's talk about Bundesliga. Even though I'm wearing a French shirt today, I'm wearing the Stade Rennais shirt, and I think it's really pretty. It's a lovely shirt, lovely shirt. Bayern Munich, the world champions, because obviously that's a thing still, isn't it? But according to others, it's not anymore. I did just put the goal scorers down, and it disappeared. So they're not going to be there for the moment. But it was a day of firsts in this game, a real day of firsts. So there was plenty of goals scored by a number of people that are scoring their first goals or the first of the year and things like that. No one saw this game happening the way it did. You would have felt that they might have had a little bit of a hangover anyway, but for them to score, for Arminia Bielefeld to score 2 goals, in fact, lead by 2 goals twice, it's absolutely crazy. Vlad on his debut, he then scored. He scored on the open after 9 minutes. He then assisted for the second goal by Pieper. He scored his first ever goal from a Vlad assist. Stat padding. Robert Lewandowski with a beautiful goal.
This was everything else than step padding.
Oh,
was pure class.
This was Robert Lewandowski. The cross anyway, the chest, and then the volley. It was sexy stuff at its finest. They didn't even have a second to react though, because 55 seconds. Well, so they did have a second. That 55 seconds to react. Then it was the 2-goal lead was restored again, but the snow cleared off the Bayern pitch, and Bayern came into life and scored some beautiful goals. Tolisso, his first of the season. Alphonso Davies, his first of the season.
Great strike as well.
Devo, talk to me.
You know what? When I was watching this, I was watching the highlights of this, and I was thinking, I wonder how much of the Bayern's performance, because I mean, it wasn't great. I wonder how much of this was down to them being in Qatar for how long, and then coming back to blitz freezing cold conditions and having to play a game. What they must have got back on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, the Sunday or Sunday morning, Saturday evenings, maybe, and then playing Monday night. I wonder
on
how
Friday, didn't they?
They got back on Friday.
Yeah,
no,
World
played the
Cup
game on
final was
Friday, didn't they?
On Thursday.
Thursday.
Was it on Thursday?
No, the game was on the
and
Thursday.
then they came back on Friday.
So I was wondering how much.
Everyone came back.
Yeah.
Thomas Müller stay there for a couple more minutes at least.
I wonder how much of it is a bit of a not a culture shock, because I mean they're from there, but going from Qatar and being out there and then coming back to like blitz cold, maybe it just took a little bit out of them. But maybe I'm just trying to make excuses for them.
I think you are.
Firstly, you have to congratulate Arminia Bielefeld for being able to put 3 goals for Bayern Munich. I don't think they've scored 3 goals in a game this season, have they? Bielefeld?
No, I don't think they
scored 4 against Stuttgart, 3 or 4.
They got 4
or around Christmas.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Let me check. Well,
double check that. I don't know they're scoring 4. No, they did.
They gave Stuttgart a beating.
Yeah. Was it 4-1 that game? Or 4-2?
At home.
Yeah.
I take a look.
Yeah, it was 3.5 time.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, but they did well to get 3 against Bayern Munich. It's a shame that they scored a 4th. It was disallowed. That would have been a monumentous victory for them if they would have got that. I mean, it's rightfully disallowed, but if they would have got that 4th, just imagine the scenes. I mean, it's good enough them getting a point away to Bayern. But these teams down the bottom are really scraping and fighting. No one really wants to fall behind. I mean, apart from obviously our friend Schalke, the other teams are really fighting to put points on the board. It's quite exciting.
Bielefeld, though, they must be able to take something out of this game rather than just the point. You know, they must be able to use this as building blocks to ensure that they get Bundesliga football again next season, Flo.
Well, at first the point is, of course, there's a bonus point. No one would have even dreamed about this point. So, and maybe in the end, it's this single point that matters, or that can matter. But yeah, if you have to take one thing except the point, it's that your will, the strength you have, the team spirit you have fighting against such a good squad like Bayern Munich is, that this can lift you to higher grounds if you play against the Augsburgs, Cologne, etc. in this league. So you can still get the self-confidence, or you have to get the self-confidence from that point, from this draw, that you can win against those teams from the bottom of the league. I mean, they still face Mainz, Schalke, don't they? Hertha, Augsburg, so they have lots of points to gain.
Yeah, they have. Let's talk about Augsburg, because they have now suffered 6 defeats in their last 7 games, and it was a club that Julian Nagelsmann actually came through as a player before suffering loads of injuries and chinning off a playing career to start a beautiful managerial stint. Leipzig, they did everything they could to try and not get 3 points out of this game, Dev. Yeah,
they did. Yeah, and one of the most glorious goalmouth scrambles I've seen in a long time at the end of the game there, with Augsburg trying to get the equaliser. I love seeing a goalmouth scramble. You don't see much of it anymore. But yeah, they did. I mean, they started off well. First half, they had quite a few chances. Gikiewicz made some good saves. I mean, the penalty was controversial, but I believe the referee made the right decision for me.
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough one, wasn't it? So Danny Olmo scored the penalty after it was retaken for Gikiewicz coming like 7 yards off his line to try and stop it.
Some way out. And he did it again on the second when Olmo scored. He did it exactly same thing again.
Exactly the same thing. He didn't even learn from the first one.
You know, I saw.
But if he would have secured this penalty, he would have got suspended from the match. So he got the yellow card first.
Yeah. So it would have been enough if he'd saved that second one. Yeah.
If you do it 2 times for the penalty, it's another yellow card, and what would make yellow red card.
Yeah, they need to be consistent with that though, because I've seen other penalties this season where it's not being given. So they just need to be consistent. I can understand his frustration if he's seen other goalkeepers get away with it, but it doesn't make it right for him to do it. But yeah, like Leipzig, on the run of play, they were good value for the win, but they made it difficult for themselves. I think that's something that Leipzig do. They never really put teams away. It's something that they don't do enough of. You know, they dominate games. and they struggle to really put teams to bed, and that could come back to bite them.
Yeah, but you know what? I fully take on board what you just said there, because they got good money for Werner. You know, he was their main goal scorer. They have got a goal scorer in I can't ever say his name. Shalobzai.
I can't do it now.
Soboslai.
Soboslai.
Soboslai, yeah.
I'm gonna have to write it down phonetically, like I did with my boy Elvis, and then just say it every day for about a week. But you know, he's been struggling with injury quite a bit since he's been at Leipzig, Flo. But you can't really operate with just one decent focal point, can you?
Who is the decent focal point?
Well, just him, isn't it? Because other than that, if they haven't got him, you know,
I thought you were talking about Sherlock or someone like that.
No, that's the thing. Like, they're at least, like, when you look at Man City, for argument's sake, I know Man City have got an abundance of cash, but their main goal scorer is Aguero, and if they're not playing with Aguero, they can play with Jesus, who is good enough to score goals for Man City. They also chip in with goals from left, right, and centre. But when you haven't got a decent focal point as a striker, you can't be expecting the use of Poulsen to be bagging in with goals. And we know that Angelino started off the season fantastically, and he scored 6 goals already this season. But all those 6 goals came before November.
And he's a left back.
And he's a left back.
Yeah.
Just to add that little bit in there as well, he's a left back. So Leipzig, for me, I think they need to go out in the market and get themselves another striker, don't you think?
Well, if they get another striker, they need to get rid of Sörloth first, because you don't need Sörloth and Poulsen in the squad if you have another top striker. And Poulsen is, from my point of view, the more important striker in context also of the history of Leipzig. He's maybe, if you can say, he's the player who has some tradition for the club, if this club has any kind of tradition, which I absolutely don't think so.
I was going to say, it's a bit of stretch calling a tradition, isn't it? Well, I was about 64 when they came live. Do you know what I mean? Oh dear. But yeah, Augsburg, 6 defeats in their last 7 games. They started off the season quite nicely as well, you know, just picking up wins, just going about their business quietly. But now they're right in the dogfight.
Yeah, you know what? They did well to deposit those points. They've quite well, not lucky because they earned it. Obviously, they deposited the points because they earned those points. But they're living off of those points at the moment. And the way that Köln obviously lost, but Bielefeld picked up points. These teams around Augsburg are starting to pick up points. They could be looking at the playoff places quite realistically. So they need to put together a turnaround in form quickly before they end up looking up at the likes of Bielefeld and Cologne and Hertha Berlin and Hoffenheim and those guys. At the moment, they're looking down at them. They need to keep it that way.
Yeah, because we know that the game was snowed off last week between Bremen and Bielefeld. So Bielefeld do have a game in hand, but there is only 4 points difference between Bielefeld in 16th and Augsburg in 13th. And 16th place, of course, is the playoff relegation position. So that gap is closing, and 4 points shy of those after picking up a glorious point are Mainz. Sorry, Flo. We have to talk. We have to talk about it.
And you had to misspell the club. Well, they deserved it.
I'll put Leverkusen. Oh God, I was so busy. I was like,
and you forgot the 04. But I don't know. Well, that's the difference, first of all, between Leipzig and Leverkusen. Leipzig were able to secure the points, 3 points, although they didn't play good in the second half. But I don't know how to describe the squad. It's always the same. It's always like a roller coaster. You always have these high and lows. You don't have like a middle somewhere. I mean, they started off quite good. You score the first goal and you think, okay, today it's easy money. Mainz is it's not the best team. Very at the bottom of the league. Okay, early 1-0, perfect for the squad. You can do the counter attacks. You have a higher quality than Mainz has in the squad. And nothing happens afterwards. Then you think, okay, half time, coach has some words. Okay, let's take a look at the second half, and they come out and play like they want to lose this match. Mainz did exactly. I have to. I can nothing but just admit that Mainz played a great second half. They did what they had to do when you were in a fight for or against relegation. They never gave up, and although it wasn't deserved, you scored the second goal. You are 2-0 in the lead, and then it must be over and out. I don't know.
It's got to be over and out. There's 5-6 minutes left of the clock. You're playing against Mainz. There will be some sick pervert out there, no, that would have put on, Mainz double chance or Mainz draw after Schick scored, because that's what people do. Let's talk about the positives first of Bayer Leverkusen, and the form of Diaby continues. It was his assist, which it was a lovely pass, and I described it in my notes as a very Oliver Giroud finish. Near post, dipping in, one touch from Alario, fantastic stuff. And the second goal, Damari Gray still can't get a game to start anywhere he goes, but he comes off the bench and gets another assist.
Yeah, and these last two performances were very important to put a little pressure on Bailey and Diaby, of course, but also to show the coach that he got options. The weeks before we had no options on the wings, but Arabi's always injured, and you have to play with Bailey and Diaby the whole time. But now, after an hour or 70 minutes, you can get one of those off, maybe the one who's not playing good on this day, and you have someone who's bringing new pace, new ideas. So really looking forward to Damari Gray's performance. But to be honest, for the moment, just as a sub. He had the press conference yesterday, I believe, and was a little, let's say, self-confident. Like he said, I had to leave my comfort zone at Leicester to develop me as a player and a person. Okay, you had to leave because you played for the under-23s in the last games, and I don't know. You don't belong to the starting 11 there, and you don't leave because you're like you want to get to know a new country or something like this. Yeah, I'm dreaming of the English national team, of some caps, etc. And would say, okay, guy, step by step. Continue like this, maybe do it as a starter, and then we'll see and give you a new contract.
Mainz and Devo Mainz. They beat Union Berlin last week. They lost to Stuttgart. Stuttgart picking up their first home win against them. They beat Leipzig.
They're fighting for their lives. They are fighting they're doing everything they need to do. I mean, even when they've lost games, they've performed well. They've been scrappy. They've had chances and stuff like that. And in this game, they didn't perform well in the first half at all. Leverkusen were really in cruise control. Second half, they made some changes, kind of scrapped their way back into the game. And I think the worst thing that happened to Leverkusen was getting the second goal, because it kind of made Leverkusen think the game was finished.
Yeah.
I think at 1-0, it kind of felt like, they're still in with a chance here. We need to be careful. They got the second and went to sleep. Well, all right, game over. It's like, when you're in school and you play next goal wins.
Yeah.
Leverkusen thought it was like next goal wins. We won! Yay! And
it's done. I'm not being funny. I know you've got to be professional all the way through, but let's be real. You're playing against relegation fodder. You score your second, go 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go. There is going to be a level of don't do anything silly, but we can sort of.
That's exactly what they did. They did something.
This Niakate assist. This was, I don't know.
As soon as I saw Niakate get the assist, I was literally thinking, Devo.
Mate, he's doing it all. Goal scorer.
He starts scoring goals. Making these incredible assists. He's surrounded with 4 players or so, and chips the ball in a great way above the centre backs.
And Bo Svensson's got them believing, and that's going to be vital. If they pull off the great escape, which I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest, that would be a great achievement for him. He's got them firing.
Well, they've got Gladbach next, and then they've got Augsburg, and then Schalke. So, the Gladbach game might be a free hit.
There's 3 games where you can get points, because Gladbach, you don't know what's going on there with the situation we're going to talk about in a bit. They've been stop-start this season.
They're also going to be resting players ahead of the Man City game for that as well.
And then obviously Augsburg and Schalke. Schalke, we know what you're going to get. Augsburg, we spoke about this a minute ago. They've been on a terrible run of form. So if Mainz can pick up maybe 7 points out of those 3 games,
7. Ooh.
if they could get a point off of Gladbach, beat Augsburg, and beat Schalke, they're right in the thick
I
of
can
it.
even imagine them to get 9 and not 9 is German. 9.
I know 9. I know 9. I can spell in German. I'm a shy piece of German, bro.
3 against Gladbach. Yeah, I know you are. You know more about Bundesliga than I do, at least about the current situation.
Nur eins deutscher Meister, Gav Mack. Oh my lord. Let's talk about a team who they just keep getting wins. They keep getting wins. And that's Frankfurt and my boy again. Oh god. Before we go into that, I've got a comment here. From Delfra. Gav, can you tell your boy Silva to stop scoring goals? He's the second goal scorer in top 5 leagues after Lewandowski. Look, right. Look, the first half showed exactly why Andre Silva is the player that he is. He is dead. He scores a lot of tap-ins and bounce-offs. Did you see the run that he went where the ball just got chipped under his feet? And that is what Andre Silva is about. That is what he normally does. It honestly is. That is his normal way of playing. So, if you want to talk about stat padding and seeing goals, he scored 18 goals in 20 games. Fantastic. Look at the quality of the goals that he's scoring. Yes, you've got to be in there. But honestly, if that is what you class as top goal scoring, where's my boots? Just give me my boots, and I will come out of retirement.
That was a great finish.
The finish was class.
Yeah.
Cheers to that finish.
So great composure. He poured that out the bottle. That's a good pint he's poured there out the bottle. Well done.
That is impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, I work always at the big a beer festival in Leverkusen. This actually is better than anything else. If you like beer, the biggest beer festival in the world with more than 200,000 visitors. So if you decide to come to Germany once or to Leverkusen, you actually should come on at the time it's in August when this beer festival takes place.
Yep.
I'll go for a late birthday for me. My birthday's in July. I'll come out in the August 100%. I'm down for that, especially if we could travel. Erhan, friend of the show, friend of TFB, says that I'm more gassed about Andre Silva than the darts tournament yesterday. Erhan, I couldn't even do the show properly yesterday because I was just too gassed. But look, let's just This is, I guess, excited, happy. Now, Erhan, this is a dig at you personally, so don't think that I'm digging you out because I'm not. I'll promise you that. But what I want people to stop doing as a whole is having a look and say, "Oh, Andre Silva scored." Just look at it, watch him for 90 minutes and watch what he's doing. Honestly, I'm not going to be left with egg on my face by watching goals
I
go
think
in.
you're harsh. His movement is top notch. He gets himself into some brilliant positions. Yes. Sometimes his finishing does let him down. More time than not, it doesn't, though. Not this season, anyway. Maybe in the past, because he struggled at Milan, he struggled in Sevilla because of his finishing let him down. But he seems to have found a home. And I know a lot of people think Bundesliga is an easy league to score goals in. It's not. When you look at the amount of goals that the top goal scorers generally have had throughout history, I think there's only 5 or 6 that have had over 20 goals in the last 15 years or something like that. I think it's not many. So I don't think it's as easy as people think it is. And he's on a brilliant run of form. He's scoring goals because he deserves to score goals. And Frankfurt are flying off the back of those goals. And the players around him have Kamada's playing brilliant.
Kamada's having a great time. Kostic is out. Literally.
So
it was a Kostic assist, which is weird. It wasn't a Kostic who assisted Silva, which is what you expect at the moment. And it was Ndika's header, but no, I understand like the whole Andre Silva thing. I dig him out, whatever. I take the mick a lot, but I just do think that we are over exciting the fact that he scored these goals. When you look at the level of goals, like was it last week, the week before when he scored, I was like, hey, look, fair play, hands up, that was a brilliant finish. Out of all the goals, out of all the 18 goals that he scored so far in the Bundesliga, 5 of them have been good.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But
Maybe
if you
six,
have
and I'll
one
add
job,
this one. I'll add this one in it.
if you have one job and this one job is scoring goals, nobody cares about the rest.
Andy Cole. Andy Cole,
The
prime
red was
example. I don't think he was a great player, but he was always in the right place and scoring goals at the right time. Cologne. What's this mean for Cologne, Flo? No, I'm not going to ask Flo. What's this mean for Cologne, Devo?
I mean, their performances before this game have kind of got them out of trouble in a way. So this result, when you look at the form that Frankfurt have been on, Cologne probably looked at this and thought, you know what, just go out there and play. No pressure. Everyone's expecting us to get beat. Just make it competitive. And to be fair, they kind of did. They didn't get trashed. They wouldn't have gone into this game thinking they was going to get much. So coming out of it a 2-0 loss, it is what it is, I suppose.
I specifically didn't ask. I specifically didn't ask Flo, so I know everyone knows your opinions on Cologne. It'd be unfair to ask you that question. Right. Where should we go? Let's go to Signal Iduna Park and talk about Borussia Dortmund and their 2-2 draw with Hoffenheim, because this. We're going to be we've got a lot to talk about in regards to these guys and Mönchengladbach as well, because Dortmund, they are a ship that is sinking at the moment. I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think they know their direction. They did score 2 goals, however, they were 2-1 down in this game. And was it you, Devo, or I can't remember if it was you in the chat or stuff that I saw on Twitter about Erling Haaland not being able to, when the team's losing, get the game by the scruff of the neck.
Definitely wasn't me.
No, it weren't you. I was going to say, someone recently, someone off the back of this, and then literally as I saw that tweet or message, he then puts the work in, gets the game by the scruff of the neck, and scores a brilliant equaliser to get a point out of this game. But this is Hoffenheim that, yes, they're doing all right in the Europa League, so to speak. In the last 32, they cruise through their group stage. They've played 21 games. They've got 23 points. They're technically within a relegation scrap as well, because they're only 5 points clear of the playoff position.
I don't think it's technically they are in a relegation scrap. Their form's been horrible. The biggest thing for them coming out of this is that they got a point away from home without Kramaric, and it was able to put 2 goals on the board. But defensively, they're all over the place. Both of these teams defensively are all over the place. Hoffenheim, they just don't seem to have any sort of cohesion at the back. It's just easy to kind of walk through them. And Dortmund, for me at the moment, they're playing like
before the 1-1, when before the equalizer, with Hoffenheim scored the equalizer, the scene with Kevin Vogt fouling Erling Haaland.
Oh yeah,
this wasn't easy. There was a lot about to discuss about it after the match.
Yeah. Well, also at the end, because it seemed like quite a tense game, because obviously Haaland's goal, I think Stefan Posch, he didn't take too well to the fact that there was an injured Hoffenheim player down, although he wasn't touched. He was faking it. And Dortmund didn't kick the ball out, and Haaland scored. There seemed to be a bit of an... for me, it's like, well, you had the ball first. You didn't kick it out.
Yeah, exactly.
You tried to break. We got it back from you, and we scored. What's the problem? Plus, it's up to the referee to stop the game. If the referee don't stop the game, we're going to keep playing. Haaland did what he's supposed to do. And I wouldn't want to fight Haaland. I wouldn't.
No, I reckon he's got something about him.
He's got a nasty streak in him. Like, I would have got up in someone else's face, even if it weren't him. I was like, Sancho, what are you doing, man?
Have I ever told you about the nickname he got from the German media?
Oh, Haaland or Sancho?
Yeah, Haaland.
What is
the nickname is, I will first say it in German. It's the Brecher, der Brecher mit dem Babyface. What babyface, actually what it means. But Brecher is like a word for very, very big, tough guy. I don't know. I don't know the exact translation in English, but he's big, strong, someone you don't want to meet in the middle of the night on the street, someone like this. The ones you send in first if you want to, I don't know, storm in a pub or something like this.
Yeah, it's a bit like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, though, isn't it? Babyface assassin, and like he's still, even though it looks just like a wrinkly baby now and is in his mid-40s, it's ridiculous. So I reckon that's going to be me in a couple of years' time. I swear to God, I still got ID'd in that anyway, so it's lovely.
Oh, you have to grow your afro more.
Well, I'll put the picture on my Instagram today. So if you do want to see what it looks like underneath the hat, it's available for you guys to see. Let's talk sports. That's a lad called Dan. I did a podcast with him a couple of days ago, actually. Really nice guy. Covers a number of different sports as well. So make sure you check him out for sure on YouTube and on Facebook. He said that he agrees with us in regards to Dortmund. There's a lack of direction, and they've got some really good youngsters, and they need a few people in the side that will battle for them in times of difficulty. That is exactly what they need. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We will talk very briefly about the Gladbach game, the Wolfsburg Gladbach game, and then we'll talk about Marco Rose, because we've got, well, we a lot of people know the news already, and we'll go into that in a bit of depth in a moment. So Wolfsburg 0, Gladbach 0, another draw. Finally another draw, I should say, because it's been a while since Wolfsburg draw. It's the first draw in 6 games, which is crazy. The draw specialist that let me down on Anako a couple of weeks ago, which I'm not bitter about anymore, I promise. But
maybe they start drawing again.
Yeah,
maybe they will. Maybe they will, until I bet on them to draw, and then they'll shag it again. But it's another clean sheet, and I think that's what's most important for Wolfsburg, Flo.
Yeah, it is, because defense is the base, it's the fundamental thing they have in their way of playing. If you got the nil, you got at least a point, and then you only need one more goal to get a 3-pointer. So, from my point of view, but that's also because I'm a defender, defense is always before offense for me. I know strikers think it vice versa, but
defense wins games.
Playing nil than playing 5.
That's why I've only got one of these, not 2.
You know what? I always say, when you go to build a house, you don't put the roof on first. There, you build the foundations first. Your defense is your foundation. So for me, you build from the bottom up. So I agree. Wolfsburg, defensively they are solid. That's what I think 5 games now without conceding a goal or something like that. 4 or 5 games without even conceding a goal. So yeah, and then Mönchengladbach was able to kind of contain them up the other end. Although Wolfsburg had the better chances of the two. As a 0-0 game, this wasn't necessarily boring. I think it was it was a tactical battle between 2 good sides, and I think Wolfsburg. I thought Schalke had scored at the end.
Me too. What strike it was!
Hit the side net and then it rolls behind the net at the back, and you're thinking, why aren't they celebrating? And you realise, it's not gone in. But yeah, Wolfsburg will be very happy with that performance and the fact that they're still on this little unbeaten run, haven't conceded a goal in ages.
Yeah, 6 games. Around 6, 7 games, 6 games. So right. So we need to talk about this because it's so important. Of course, before going into it, to make sure you like, share, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff on all social media platforms at Top Football, at TFB Dugout. Make sure you check us out and go to Manscaped and put in TFD code and to get some good stuff for your balls and that, and like good beard trimmers and all them things.
Lotion. I remember that.
Absolutely know it. So, Marco Rose to Dortmund. Is this a good move? And this is sort of like going off the back of what Dan asked about, what Dortmund need. They need a little bit of direction. Do you think Marco Rose is going to be able to offer the level of direction that Dortmund need to go forwards? Is one question. And then the other question is he right to be leaving Gladbach? So I'll pose that to you first, Dev.
I'll do the second part first. Is he right to be leaving Gladbach? I don't think he is. For me, it's a sideways step. I think Gladbach have a good core there themselves. They've got some good players there. I think Dortmund obviously have good players. But I think the thing is with Dortmund is there's a culture at Dortmund of, well, I'm only going to be here for a couple of years and then I'm off to move on, kind of thing, or wherever it may be. I just think that, yes, they have some brilliant youngsters come through, but I think all of those youngsters really see Dortmund as a stepping stone to something else. There don't seem to be cohesion, team, togetherness to actually want to fight for results. It's like they rely a lot on individual brilliance.
Yes.
And there is a lot of it, but when it doesn't work, what else have you got? And that's what we failed to see from Dortmund. So maybe he can galvanize them and do something there, but we've seen this before. Didn't they take Lucien Favre from Mönchengladbach as well?
From Leeds.
From where, sorry?
From Leeds, nice. From Leeds.
Oh yeah, Leeds. Sorry, yeah. No, he was at Gladbach previous to that. So
he was.
Yes. So I think the timing of it's strange as well, because especially
it's a weird time to announce it, isn't it?
This is when this happened with Nagelsmann. I thought that's a bit odd that you've announced halfway through the season that you're going to leave Hoffenheim. Now, what are these players thinking? Do you know what I mean? What are the players? Are we now playing and trying to put ourselves in a position to earn game time for our next manager? Or what are we doing here? I think if I was Mönchengladbach, I'd be very upset that this has come out at this time, considering where they are.
Especially when they're trying
to direct rivals with each other.
They're direct rivals with each other. They've got a Champions League game that they need to be working towards and thinking about. I think the timing of the whole thing is disgustingly bad.
Yeah. But as for Marco Rose himself as a manager, he's a very good manager. I think he's one of a few very good young managers in the German game at the moment. But Dortmund seems to be a bit of a... I mean, he could be the guy that turns it around, but for me, I would have preferred to stay at Mönchengladbach than go to Dortmund, all things considered. Because I don't think Mönchengladbach are that worse in terms of personnel and in terms of their own ambition.
I think in terms of personnel, I think they're pretty much ready. They just need to sort a little bit of consistency out and understand where their priorities lie. Because sometimes they will rest players when they don't necessarily need to. Defensively, man for man, I think they're astute. They've got some real creativity in the middle of the park. They've obviously got fantastic forwards, minus Bryn and Bolo. It's they've got a good starting 11, and they've also got a couple of decent backup lads as well that could do a job. So I think it's a weird move. Flo, what are your opinions on the whole Marco Rose saga?
I think from Rose's point of view, as Devo said, it's sort of kind of a sideway he's taking to Dortmund. I don't think Dortmund is necessarily better than, or the starting 11 is necessarily better than Gladbach. Really looking forward to that cup game in 2 weeks when they are facing each other in the German Cup in the quarterfinal. But for Rose, there's one thing: money, of course, because Dortmund is way more potent in terms of money, in terms of spending money. So he will have another level as his wage. And I believe what the motivation from Dortmund is that Marco Rose is the coach who's coming closest to Klopp since Klopp left Dortmund, because in the last 5 years or 6 years, they were always searching for this Jurgen Klopp kind of guy, or they're comparing all their coaches with Jurgen Klopp because Jurgen Klopp did something magical at Dortmund. He's a legend over there. And the people, they're desperate for a character like him, for someone who's full of energy, who's able to push the team, push the fans, all this kind of stuff. And Marco Rose plays energetic football. He plays attractive football. And he played at Mainz. He's friends with Klopp, so the links are getting bigger and bigger. You can't sign David Wagner because he was Schalke coach before. Otherwise, David Wagner as Jurgen Klopp's best man would have been obvious choice. But Marco Rose is really coming close to Klopp. I believe he has saying he has the potential to become a second Jurgen Klopp would be too much, but he has the potential to push Dortmund in a similar direction. I'm not talking about winning the German Championship or a cup, or maybe the German Cup, but Champions League or Championship in Germany, but playing attractive football, being able to energize the masses, and just being an attractive solution. So that's from my point of view the motivation from Dortmund signing Marco Rose. So from their point of view, it's a very good signing. for a coach, especially you're weakening, your opponent in the Bundesliga. That's what they're always doing in the last couple of years. I mean, take a look. Bayern is taking the players from Dortmund. Dortmund is taking the players from Leverkusen or Gladbach. So the bigger fish eats the smaller fish.
It's just part of the.
And this is like a survival of the
belt
fittest in the Bundesliga.
Is there any names
continue.
that have been linked with Mönchengladbach as of yet?
Well, there have been before, like Dennis Zakaria, for example. But today there was quite an emotional press conference, or yesterday, I believe, when Rose was talking about his. It was today, yeah. And he said that he won't take any players from Gladbach to Dortmund. But I mean, 3 weeks ago he said, I'm not gonna talking about my future, or I'm a coach of Gladbach. I have a contract here. So you know how fast it is in football.
Yeah, you can't openly go out there and say those sort of things there, though, can you? Like, I've decided that I'm going to move to Dortmund. Oh, yeah, I'm going to bring Alison Player with me as well. You don't have that sort of conversation in the press. It would probably be happening. I'm trying to work out what, other than Haaland, like, who would get into the Gladbach side, guaranteed, hands down, whatever. Maybe, like, I would say Haaland and Guerrero, I would probably say.
Sancho would get in there.
For the way they play, I don't think it would fit. They would have to change their system in order to compensate for him. So I'm not trying. That's not me saying that Sancho isn't good enough to play for them. I'm totally saying this is the standard of football and the style that these play. This is what these play. Who would automatically fit going elsewhere?
I think Brandt would be a better Hoffman from my point of view.
I think maybe
Hoffman is playing the position that Brandt needs to play in Dortmund. Brandt is always getting somewhere from the wings to the middle of the pitch. In his last half year in Leverkusen, when Peter Bosz put him in the center as central offensive midfielder in the 4-3-3, Brandt was very important. He and Havertz playing together was just lovely.
Yeah,
and he needs this position. It's better for him. He's too slow for the wings. Yeah, and the Hoffman position would be great for him.
So I was just trying to see whether man for man, they, as I said, like if you are sticking to your formation, sticking to what you are playing, because if you're not, then there's loads of players that'll be able to switch between both sides, sort of thing. But I think Gladbach are onto something at the moment. And this season, when we've been watching Gladbach this season, just the way they've been moving, the way they've performed in the Champions League, I think they're onto greater things. And the fact that Rose has only been there for 2 years as well. He was at Salzburg before, and now he's at Gladbach. Is a step up for him to. I'm with you guys. It's a sideward step that he's doing here. I don't think it's the right decision. We might be sitting here next year in a whole different situation, going bloody hell. Look what Rose is doing. 6 points clear of Bayern. Okay, well, let's not go that far.
That won't be enough.
In this situation is that fans always tend to forget. I mean, 2 years ago, they signed Rose from a clause from Salzburg. So they signed him for 2 million euros or something. And I know Max Eber knew the risk, because when he did the contract with Rose, and Rose said, okay, I need a clause for in 2 years that I may or might leave the club. Rose says for himself, I have higher ambitions, or I'm on my way to bigger grounds. I don't know. And sometimes the fans, of course, obviously fans are not objective, but they need a little more objectivity. After that Cologne match they lost, and now changing to Dortmund, it's like they want to hang Rose. They want to fire him.
I just think, I know every person who plays sport will always want to better themselves. Let's be real. But I think another year at Gladbach, prove your worth and go get a big job. And I think it will work. A big job where they've got a few quid and he could bring in his players, play his style of football. But the proof's in the pudding, and we'll have to see what happens next year. I still think it's a bit of a dodgy move. Let's talk football again and games that happened at the weekend, and we'll go to Stuttgart, where they drew 1 apiece with Hertha Berlin, the Sami Khedira derby. Sorry, that's what we call it, because this is where he made his debut against Hertha Berlin. What year? I can't remember what year it was.
2006, I believe.
2006. I think it was 2007. That's fair. This game, this game didn't make me feel fantastic, if I'm honest. And it was just nice. It was just nice to see a young lad scoring a goal, frankly, with nets right at the end, finding the back of the net. 17 years old.
Do you know that net means net?
Really? Yeah, he could have some sort of merchandise with that. If he's not, well, he's a left back, isn't he, or left wing back. So
yeah.
I don't know if he'd be finding the back of the net too often. But if he was a striker, I'm sure there could be some sort of merchandise there.
Should he not just like pair up with Brooklyn? And then everything's all good. And then what he could do, actually, literally pair it with Brooklyn Beckham, and then they could just be pals, like the Brooklyn Nets. That's how bad this game was, and there's not really much to talk about.
There's a free kick for the opening goal.
Yes, I do lie. Yes, that was a good move. It was a bit training groundy as well. Making sure the whole of the defense was stepping up and stepping around. They didn't know what they were doing. And Kalajdzic, he did the right thing. It's a bloody tight offside decision.
Yeah, it was.
Think they just got it right.
Yeah, they got it right. With the amount of scrutiny that comes with these offside decisions, they have to get it right. Do you know what I mean? But I think it was a good, well-worked free kick. A bit of confusion. Made it look like they didn't know what it was doing, and then Sosa swings it in with his left foot.
Still think it's poor goalkeeper from Yarstein.
Yeah, he probably could have done better with it. I think maybe he was a bit on his heels because the way the free kick was executed. Probably should have saved it. Probably be a bit disappointed with himself. But fair play to Stuttgart. They did what they had to do. Good finish. Good free kick. They need this guy to score goals, Kalajdzic, because Gonzalez is injured. Don't know how long he's out for. So they need Kalajdzic to score some goals, and they need to get some wins on the board. They're a bit
at home.
Yeah,
they need to win games at home.
Luka Netz, I think was he not linked with Bayern Munich recently as well? And then they signed Omar Richards instead from Reading.
I don't understand this transfer. I don't know. He was Premier League. He didn't even play Premier League. Yeah. He's 22 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Is he any kind of special?
Well,
what's happening there?
Reading have got some good young players. He's one of them. Elise is another one. But yeah, as you said, they've never played in the Premier League. 22, so it's not as if he's like really young.
No, it's 18. Yeah.
Is he 18?
No, it's not like he is 18.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I would have gotten it because straight out of the youth academy, played 1 year championship. Yeah.
But what I will say,
and then go off.
What we'll say is the thing is with defenders, especially playing in the championship, they have to deal with pressure because there's so many different types of football in the championship. The championship's a hard league to learn your trade in.
Probably say it's the toughest league out there.
A lot of big players have come through the championship and it's done them a lot of good. But yes, a massive step up. I think it might be one of those signings where they sign him, give him a couple games here, then loan him out. Hope that he does well there and then make a massive profit off him when they sell him. That's what I reckon they're going to try and do.
I missed the words of wisdom. We might as well talk about his last two games very quickly and do the words of wisdom because we've got two of them as well.
No problem.
Bremen Freiburg.
Yeah,
and Union versus Schalke. Both games
I need to say something about the Union versus Schalke, just for the audience. Just everyone knows in terms of how bad this or how boring this game was. I was watching the Leverkusen game. Of course, I was a little disappointed. And then I watched Union Berlin against Schalke with a friend. So we were just the two of us, getting along with the Corona regulations in Germany. And said, okay, let's have a couple of beers or have a beer. And it was 1 beer, 2 beers. The game was so boring. We just continued drinking beers, and I ended up sending a voicemail to the boys in the chat.
Yes, you did.
Bad thing.
Smashing jams in the background, getting mashup, trying to sing along and that. It was like karaoke night at the Boston, Northampton people will understand what that means. Holly Gombar, make sure you check her channel out. If you don't have to be a Spurs fan in order to check her channel out. Really good content, really good entertainment as well. So make sure you check her out.
Against you, Holly. Not everyone.
I know. Cut the Gooners and Liverpool fan hard work. But Schalke got a point. It's a miracle. Honestly, if you watch the game, it wasn't a miracle.
To be fair, the lad whose name I can't pronounce at the moment. He should have had a hat trick. He missed the bag of chances. Like Union should have won that game.
Yeah. Union are having a terrible time at the moment. We'll do the rest of the comments at the end, and in the meantime, it is time for this.
Words of wisdom.
Flozif, we've got a couple. Wahoo! Flozif, we've got a couple, haven't we? Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do it first with the guys in the green one.
Okay.
Not the Rose.
Not right. Okay. So, right, these are guys in green. Who are these, and what are they doing?
Well, I don't know them personally. But these
that's are right. You don't have to be like, oh, that's Dieter, that's Marco, that's Jürgen, and like
Sepp, Franz, like the typical German name from the 74 champions, Wolfgang.
Wolfgang's in the background. He's in the yellow.
Could also be Wolfgang's words of wisdom. No, I don't know if you heard about it, but last weekend would have been Carnival in Germany.
Yes,
what means
that's right.
From Thursday starting till today. Today is Ash Wednesday, so the end of the whole Carnival season.
Yeah,
and the beginning of the 40 days time of recession without any alcohol, etc. Blah 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 till Easter. I don't really care about. But this picture was taken at Carnival last year. At Mönchengladbach. So around the River Rhine, it's a huge tradition. Cologne, Leverkusen, Düsseldorf, also partly Mönchengladbach, but they don't belong to the Rhine from my point of view. But people are celebrating. You have these parades on the streets, and everyone is drinking, and you're just 5 days. 5 days drunk. It's like, I don't know, 5 days of bank holiday for you.
Right up my street, that does. Right up my street.
And there's one day, the Monday at Carnival. Monday is the biggest day. So 2 days ago, well, what happened? Let's think about it. Okay, we talked about it before, about a coach changing a club. And Monday on Carnival in Germany is called Rose Monday. Okay, we don't have Carnival this year. Very own Rose Monday, yeah.
Oh, I like the timing of it. I love that. Brilliant.
It's like every Gladbach fan was like, "Oh, worst Rose Monday ever! Fuck it, fuck Corona, fuck football."
The Dortmund fans, best Rose day ever.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
They might go back to this day and be like, "Oh, absolutely shocking."
But to be honest, in Dortmund they don't really celebrate Carnival. I don't know what's wrong with them, but it stops right at the north from Düsseldorf. In the Ruhr area, they don't celebrate Carnival. It's just like the Rhine area, and a little below in Mainz, for example. Mainz is also a huge city for Carnival.
The only good thing about Dortmund really is the price of beer and Das Keller as well. Great nightclub. That's the first place I ever heard of Vettersbrot, and they are my favorite. One of my favorite bands. Mate, I love Vettersbrot, mate. Honestly, I'll send you my favorite Vettersbrot track. But the first song I heard in there, the first song, like I heard Yine in there, and that is an absolute banger. Honestly.
Soll ich wirklich machen oder
sein? Jein. Oi, that was Jein.
You know the song Emanuela?
Yeah. Of course I do.
And do you remember David Moyela from Borussia Dortmund?
Oh yeah. I
So,
remember.
and before he was changing from Bielefeld to Bremen, this was before he changed to Dortmund. The Bielefeld fans, it was exactly about the time when Emanuela, the song, got out von Fettes Brot.
Nice.
And the Bielefeld fans were singing like, Lass die Finger von Ovo Moyela, what basically means like back off from Ovo Moyela, but in the song, Fettes Brot was singing back off from Emanuela. So great.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And my other one is Lieblings, dit was jeder Radio. Aber weiter war das so. Es tut mir leid, wir haben so eine gute Zeit. Oh, hey, don't watch me, man. I can sing German.
Wolfram's words of wisdom.
I think we're going to need a new segment next week.
Oh, yeah, the Fettes Brot section. Yes, Gav sings Fettes Brot tracks.
German hit.
Right, let's have a look. Rammstein. Oh, I love a bit of Rammstein as well. Yeah. Let's have a look at some tables. So that is the bottom of the table. It's week 20, but there are a couple of teams that have got 20, already played 20 games, week 21, I should say. And that was obviously because of the postponed game, which they're playing on Friday, which is it's freaked me out that has anyway. Anyway, bottom of the league, you'll be surprised to know that Schalke are there with 9 points from their 21 games, 1 win, a sixth draw that they picked up at the weekend, and they are rock bottom, 9 points from a playoff position. Mainz they've got 14 points now, and they are back in the mix to a degree, with Bielefeld in the playoff position, 18 points, level with Hertha. Cologne, they are on 21. Augsburg on 22, with Hoffenheim and Bremen on 23 points each, and Stuttgart finish off the bottom half of Le Tableau. Top half of the table, 4 points behind 4 points ahead of them are Union Berlin, who have just had a massive fall from grace. However, they are still only 9 points off Champions League football. So anything can happen. Anything can happen. Freiburg, they're just knocking around doing their thing on 31 points in 8th place. Mönchengladbach, they're on 33 points. We're saying they're having an okay season, and then Dortmund are having a bad season. They're level on points. They're level on points.
Very step up for Rose.
It's ridiculous. Bayer Leverkusen, they're doing everything they can to mess up their chance of Champions League football after succumbing a 2-0 lead and draw 2-2 at home to relegation suffering Mainz. Wolfsburg, they've dropped down a position after their point at home to Mönchengladbach. Frankfurt, they go ahead of those, back into 3rd place, both level on 39 points. And Leipzig, they closed the gap on Bayern Munich after Bayern Munich drew 3-3 at home to Arminia Bielefeld. There's a 5-point difference now, and
goals Bayern Munich have conceded, 29 goals.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Leipzig, they've still got the best defensive record, and it's Wolfsburg that are close by with them. And Wolfsburg, they just love drawing games, so it's just happening to them. They love a 0-0.
Considering Wolfsburg haven't conceded a goal for like 5 games, the fact that they haven't got the best defense in the league is quite staggering.
Yes, it's crazy, but that's what we love about Bundesliga football. It's so damn entertaining. There we go. So fixtures, Bielefeld play against Wolfsburg. Sorry, I got that wrong. I thought it was Bielefeld versus Bremen this weekend. I saw the green, I got excited. So that's what's games is happening. So it's not their game in hand. Don't worry about it.
The Wolfsburg badge is basically the Bremen badge just in round.
It is pretty much, yeah. Both crap badges. Not a fan.
No,
and then.
Get it, yeah.
They're just W's, isn't it? It's crap, isn't they? So then Saturday's fixtures are these are the the afternoon games, 2:30 UK, 3:30 German time. Gladbach versus Mainz. Freiburg versus Union Berlin. Frankfurt, this is going to be a game and a half, against Bayern Munich. FC Cologne will play against Stuttgart. The evening game is the derby. It's the derby, Schalke versus Dortmund. Sexy, sexy, sexy stuff.
Could you imagine?
Oh, the banter. Sunday, there's 3 games on, one at 12:30, one at 2:30, one at 5 o'clock. These are UK times, of course. Stick an hour on for Deutschland. Augsburg versus Bayer Leverkusen. To Berlin versus RB Leipzig, and Hoffenheim have got Werder Bremen. Ooh, games, absolute games. Let's have a look at the comments before we disappear. Joe Church, he did the watch along for the Super Bowl with us. It's cussing you out. It's cussing you out. I'm sure this bloke is a Seahawks fan when I met a couple of weeks ago.
I collect NFL jerseys, but I am a Seahawks fan. Yeah. That's all
it's a bit
is.
of blasphemy knocking around in there, I'm sure. Right, Erhan going out for bites. He's got one. Silver over Lacazette any day. Yep. Absolute
I'll take that.
Nah, man. Forget Paul Singer's watching it via YouTube. He said, forget Ronaldo. Silva's going to win Portugal the Euros. I'll tell you what. No, I'm not making promises anymore, actually, because the last time I made promises, I'm just getting stung in the foot. I've got the Patrick Bamford thing happening at the moment. It's making me feel quite sick. Paul also said about, were you guys disappointed about Leipzig's performance in the Champions League?
No, since I'm a Liverpool fan, I was very happy.
Yeah, I was a bit. But I kind of thought that they would struggle against Liverpool because Liverpool, you know, if there's forward free click, then they're going to trouble anyone. And, you know, Salah's on form. Mane got a goal.
Well,
hopefully that's not a good form for him, you know.
Leipzig basically did the Liverpool move in the past couple of games. You know, playing quite good, having chances, but giving some goals to the opponents.
Yeah.
I just think that Leipzig love to bottle it in pressure situations. And that's exactly what happened. It's a pressure situation. What winds me up is that this game's over 2 legs. I would imagine those to perform like that in a one-off game. But it's over 2 legs. Don't do anything stupid. Yeah, and that's it there. Erhan said the Schalke players must be drinking as much beer as Flo. That's what would explain the results this year.
But I have to make a hypothesis I don't know, one idea. I'm saying Schalke is going to grab a point at least against Dortmund this weekend.
I'm going to stick my neck out and say they're going to get all 3. Why not?
Ross. I don't know about that, but Holly has jinxed them. So a point done them well, and they could get something else.
Jinx Schalke.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they're doing so badly. Since she's been paying attention more to our show, which is fantastic. Not paying attention, that makes it sound bad, Holly. I don't mean it in that way. I mean, like, since you discovered us and you were watching us more, is what I mean by that. You know, Schalke have had turn of form. Do you know what I mean? They've got a couple of points knocking around off the board and that. So Holly is going to be, the #1 Schalke fan. You should do a Schalke channel.
Oh, gosh.
And Coach Reek, what's up, man? We wanted to know what shirt I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Stade Rennais shirt. So I ran with the French stuff today. I just think it's a beautiful shirt, and all their shirts have got so much character. So I'll just rock those. But yes, you can follow us on all social media on the top side of things, of course, and make sure you follow Flo on Instagram at @Senor_Laboron. Devo LDN, you can find Devo on Twitter and on Instagram with that. Or is it Devoland on Instagram?
Just type that and it'll come up.
And it's a little bit like when you put two up top into Google, our name comes up first. I've been Gav Mack, that's been Devo, and that's been Flo. Thank you so much for your comments and your involvement. And we'll see you next week on the TFB Dugout channel. Until then, gracias.
Wolfrum's words of wisdom.